Welcome to today's tutorial. Welcome. Well, today's tutorial I'm going to tell you a little bit of I'm going to try to do this top, and so I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Just show you guys this. I hope you guys can see this. So this is actually a top that a lady brought to me, and she said she, as a matter of fact, during the pandemic, she lose some weight. So what she want to do now is she want to still use the blouse. She don't want to give it away, but then she want to actually take in this top. So it's a very long top, as you can see. The fabric is really very good, and so we're going to talk about how to adjust that, and we're going to talk about these edges. If you can see, hope you guys can see it. These edges, we're going to talk about that. Okay. So first of all, what you actually need if you want to take in your dress or top, you have to study that pattern carefully, or the dress you're going to actually do. You have to study very well, because actually when you are sewing it is constructing and deconstructing. I hope you forget that correctly. Constructing and deconstructing. So when in this case now you're going to deconstruct this top. So first of all, you just look how it is, how it's been put together, and how you will do it. So in this case now, what we're going to do now is, as you can already see, I have placed my pins on it, and I use some marking. So the idea is, with this lady, it's a little bit big in the body area and as well the arm area. Also, the neck is also need to be adjusted, the shoulder. So what I did was, I measure. You need to do your measurement. It's not just you just start doing something. You need to take your measurement. I did my measurement, the shoulder measurement, and I placed the shoulder measurement here. You can see I place it from, you measure your shoulder from your shoulder bone, between your hand or your arm to your shoulder. That connection there, that bone there, that is where you start to measure. From that bone to the other bone, you measure it. So when I got my measurement, I put it right here. You don't need to divide it in any way. You just put your measurement here. Alright? So that is what I did. So I'm marking from here, as you can see. I hope you guys see this. I can see this marking here. So I'm marking from here. And so, in order for me to get this area, I measure my bust measurement. And my bust measurement, for the fact that I made the client's bust measurement. You can do that for yourself though. And so this bust measurement, for the fact that I'm working on just one side, so I divided by 2. In this case, not 4, because I'm not folding the fabric into 2. But if you want to, you can fold into 2, so that you have the middle of your top or dress that you are working on. In this case, I just do divide by 2. So I put it from center of my top. I measure the other side, and I measure both ways, and so the conclusion is here. So I will take off this and also the other side. So but right now we're going to concentrate on one side, so that when we finish, then we will then see how it looks like. So this is it. So I remember the fabrics stretchy. So I just put a little bit allowance on it because I'm not going to add anything. So I will just, first of all, I will just sew from here, and then I will also use overlocker to do it. Alright, so now what I did with the arm, with the sleeve, I measure the biceps of the client's body, the bicep of the arm, of the arm. Then I measure it, and this where, and this what I got. So I just put it here, just put it here. So for the fact that the sleeve is folded, as you can see, it is folded sleeve, so you can divide that measurement by 2, then you put it here. And so from here I just eyeball it and just take it straight to the inside the sleeve, because I didn't have to do anything on the wrist area, because just the bicep area I really wanted to take take in here. So that is why I mark it here, and so I put my pins on it. And so when you are working with this, if your client is right there with you, ask her to put it on. So when the client put it on, then you know if it's okay, yes or no. In order to make it more safe for you and the client, what you do is you use your thread and needle to actually attack it, to hold it, and then you remove the pins. So in that way, when the client is trying on the dress, then it will not have problem. She will not have problem with the pins, because it can be scratching, So you have to be very careful not to injure yourself or injure the client. So that is how it is. So now the next step I'm going to do now is to actually because I need to take this off. So for you to do it the easiest way that you can do it is actually just to cut this off. So I'm going to cut this off. Right? I'm going to cut this off, and then I will cut this area off, the excess, and then you will then attach it again to the main body, and then you do the side. So that is the easiest way you can do this, especially for beginners, so that you don't really get too stressful. So let's go ahead now and cut it out. So I'm using this scissors to do it with kind of teeth, so that it will hold the fabric until I finish sewing it. I just cut it out. So in this case now, I can say, okay, I leave it like this, and I just remove this area. But then, yeah, for the beginner, it's going to be more complicated for you. So what you do is you just cut it out. All right? Cut it out. Okay. So you cut it out. So that is that. And so now, so the next step we're going to do now is to cut the excess fabric out. All right? Cut the excess fabric out. So that is that. So we're going to cut this out. So in order for this to be easy for me to sew, I will just remove this as well. I'll cut it from here exactly, so that it will be easy for me just to sew. Okay, that is that. Okay, so let me, it's a bit thin. Okay, just do it like this because it's a bit thick, So like this, we have removed the excess. Right? That is that. So when you put it back together, you can see it will fit perfectly. Right? So this is how it is. So now, what we're going to do now is to put it together. Okay. So the easiest way for you to do, you just see. Okay. So I'll just put this back on like this, and then just do your pinning. So let me get my pins. I'll put it together. So this is it. So you should not actually worry how it will look like or things like that. So what you do is just open your work. It actually take time. It take patience to do this, but you take the time because at the end you will have it very nicely. So you make sure that the both seam actually meet together. Alright. So don't worry about anything because you're going to actually remove all those ones. So meanwhile, you make sure that you see the marking here has to go to the marking here. Join it there, right? Okay. You have to be very careful because it's a very stretchy fabric. Make sure that you don't stretch your work, don't stretch it at all because if you stretch it, it will not be nice. Okay, so that's how you do. Okay. So I am going to let me just try to pin everything together, and then we'll go to our sewing machine. We're going to sew it. I'm just going to do this really very slowly, just step by step for you guys to see, so that you can see when you have a dress like this that you really wanted to, that is too loose for you, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. If you have a sewing machine, perfect. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can always sew by hand because a lot of people love sewing by hand. Or you can go to your friend and ask if you can use their, you can actually use their sewing machine. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, so that is that. So I'll go to my sewing machine now. Put it together. I'll just show you guys how it looks like. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so now let's see. So the important thing is here comes together. See this stretchy part actually goes together. See, that is what is important. Okay, so that is it. So you pull the sleeve back together. Alright, you can see the shoulder is already reduced. So when you measure it like this, you really have it like this, so it will really be perfect for you. So we'll go to sewing machine now and sew it. I'm going to for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use another color of thread to actually sew it. I will use like a white to sew it so that you guys can see the difference. So I'll go to my sewing machine now, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back now. Let me just show you guys what I did. Okay, so this is what we just did. So this is what we just did. Just sew it round. You can see the shoulder has, the sleeve has joined together nicely to the shoulder part. And so you can see it really looks perfect. So now what I'm going to do next is to actually use my overlocker. So what I'm going to do, if you like, you can go ahead and sew here first before you use overlocker. But I just want to make my perfect. So what I'm going to do first is to actually overlock this area I just saw, this seam. I will overlock it round. So when I finish overlocking that, then I will then work on the side. In that case, it will be more easy for me for the work to be very nice and neat. So that's it. So I'll go and do that. But now, before I go ahead and overlock my work, let me show you um quickly discuss this with you. This is when you have overlocking machine is different. There are very different kinds of overlocker. So as a beginner, if you want to buy overlocker, you could just go ahead and buy a simple one that you can just overlock your work and will make your work very neat and simple. But as time goes on, you might need to do some other things. Maybe you see something or TV or wherever demonstration somewhere of how to use the overlock, and then you would think, oh, I would really love to have that overlocker. So, but anyway, as a beginner, if you have money, you can go ahead and invest money on this type of overlock machine. This overlock machine that they use for this, I have one of it. I have one simple one that actually I have been using for ages just to overlock my work, and I'm done. But as time goes on, I am doing more in sewing industry. I am actually doing more. I am doing more for people and things like that. So I thought, it's time for me to invest on very good machine. So you can have this overlock machine that have this. So what you do, the idea of this is you do not cut it. It's when you finish cutting your fabric and everything, you now use the function of this overlock machine to actually create this. You just pass this through the edges, pass through your machine, it will just weave it like this for you. And then at the end, you have these beautiful decorative stitches, you see? So you can actually, instead of folding your fabric and sewing, this is very good, this is very handy, especially when you have stretch fabric. It can be really difficult to fold and sew. So therefore, with this type of stitches is really very good for overlocker. And the overlock machine that I have, it has two functions. You can adjust it not to cut, but just to have this knitting on the edges. It's like embroidery as well. You can, when you want to actually overlock your work inside, and then what you do is you adjust the machine. It will have the other function of cutting. Then the blade is set on to cut and weave your fabric. But if you want to have this, then you have to adjust it in order for you to have these decorative stitches and not to cut. So that is very different. So there are different overlock machine that is really added, and the same machine that you can use to have your decorative stitches in your fabric without not cutting. So when you want to buy overlock machine as a beginner, just go to the store and tell them what you want to do. Because when you are there, they will ask, what do you really want it to do with the machine? And then when you tell them that, then they will be able to look for exact type that you might use for that purpose. Right? So even when you are buying an embroidery machine, that is the same method. Tell them what you want to do. But sometimes, as a beginner, you might not really know what you want to do. But I am saying, as a beginner though, it is nice to have this overlocker if you really want to use overlock machine, so that you can able to use it in the future. If you don't use it right now, later on you can always able to use it. So yeah, so that is my advice I could give to those beginners who really wanted to use overlock machine. It's nice, but however, You don't have to buy overlock machine if you don't want to, because you can just use your zigzag function on your sewing machine, and then it will also do the same work, but not this, not this. Yeah. So that is that. So I will go to my sewing machine now, just to use the basic work. I'll just use the basic. Alright guys, I'm back now. So let me just show you what I did so far. So this is it. So I overlock it, my overlocking machine, and you can see this is the stitches that I sew, and this overlock that I did. So I just I don't do it like this so that you guys can see actually how it looks like. You see, it really look nice. And when you are actually working with fabric, stretchy fabric, you have function on your overlocker that will enable you to put it on stretchy fabric, so that when you are actually working with it, you will not have much problem about that. So the next step we're going to do now actually is to sew it just the way we did the other the arm and shoulder. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. So I am going to, as you can see, I'm doing the marking and I have my my pins on it actually. So when you are sewing, then it's easy for you, can remove your pin and sew. So I will sew it first before I will overlock it. I can also use my hand to do it, but I wanted to sew it, and then I will just use my overlocker to actually trim it, and then to be neat in that way. So what I'm going to do now, as you can see here, I'm not going to do anything from here, just from my bicep, and then I'll just sew it to blend it into the sleeve. So you can see here I have a pin here, so I will actually sew it into these stitches. That's what I'm going to do. So from here as well, I will do that. One thing I forgot to tell you guys is that when you have shoulder measurement, you have your bicep measurement, you have of course your bust measurement, and then you should not forget to take in your hip measurement. If your top you are working with, it is long to your hip area, therefore don't forget to measure your hip area, because when you do not measure your hip, you just use your bust measurement, as you can see here, and when it goes down, it will be too narrow with in your hip area. So that's why you need to measure that as well, because it's a long top. But if it's a short top, that doesn't matter. Just your bust measurement, you measure, and that's it. Alright? And then you measure, of course, your waist area where it is the top going to stop, so that you know how to adjust that area as well, because it might be too big there or too small, but you want to have a perfect top. Alright? Okay, so now what I'm going to do here as well, as you can see, I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing. So I'm going to also start from this tip, this area. So I will just start from here and blend it down just like this here. I will sew it just straight ahead to this area, and I'll just blend it in. So that's like this. And so when I'm sewing though, I'm going to do like this. I will make sure that my here where I sew is up, so that it will be more easy for me to work with. So alright, just like this. Alright, because I will start there, I'll just sew it to here. So if I'm starting here, then of course I will turn this area downwards, okay, so that it will be more easy for me. This is just little tricks that will make this more easier for you when you are working. So what I will do now is to actually sew it all the way. After sewing it, then I will use my overlocker to to cut it around to overlock it, then I will show you guys how it looks. Alright, I am back and my work is nice and neat. Okay, so this is what I did now. You can see. So from this, I just use overlocker to blend it in, and here and swap. You can see. And so that's what happened. It looks so beautiful, isn't it? So you can see exactly what I did. It really looks nice. I purposely used this white to do it so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing and how it has turned out. It's really good because the excess fabric is out now, so I am very happy with it. So this is the easiest way for you to actually take a top that is too loose. This is how you can do it. So actually there's no darts, there is nothing, so it's just easy to do. And also with the shoulder area, that's exactly how you can do it. In no time you are done. Alright? So this is, let me show you the other side of what I did. And so this is exactly how it is. See? Really looks good. It really looks good. Huh? It looks good. Okay. So when you are sewing, you actually measure both measure. When you measure, you use your pin. You ask your client to try it on. So at the end, you see what you would do. Alright. So, but sometimes when you are also working with your when you are working, you have to remember sometimes some arms are larger than others, and make sure that all your work you are doing is the same, so that you will not have problem with it. That's why you measure everything and try it on. So you can see it's nice. Happy with it. So we actually cut out a lot of excess fabric. But then what you do next, if do your work, you can see the area that looks nice. See, it's good. So what you can do also, when you after you finish your work and then you discover that your neck area is too down, so what you need to do is to actually you can hold it here. You think it's too wide, you can hold it here. You can just hold it here and sew it. Just the method we use just now. That's how you do it. If you just select the neck area like this, you can just hold it like this. Just put pins so that you can see. You can just measure what you want. Just hold it like this, and you just sew it straight to blend in into your shoulder seam here. So that is how you do it. But then if you think it's too much, actually if it's just like a few centimeters or maybe half an inch, you can just do it like that. But if you think it's really too much, then before you cut off your excess, your shoulder, that is when you have to take care of your neck area with your shoulder side. Alright, so when you hold this, so then maybe you can just do it like this, and then after sewing it, you overlock it, you blend it to your armhole or your shoulder area. Then from there you overlock it, and before you take care of this area, and therefore then it will look very nice. Or other tip you can do, depends on the fabric you're actually working on. You can as well look for kind of decorative trims to put here. Maybe a lace. You can just sew it inside like this, and then you have it here like that. Alright, so those are those things that you can do. But in this case now, I'm not doing anything with the neck area because the client like it like that. Maybe next time she will think that it's too wide, she has to do something about it. But I will give her these tips for how to do. So I will actually wash it before the client will come and pick it up, because you can see all the marking that I did. First of all, I did the marking just in the front area, the front fabric, so that I can really see how it is. So this is what I did. So this is it. So I did the measurement here. I was having it here. So yeah. But then yeah. So you always have to measure your work so that to be the same, because we don't want this shoulder area to be more wider than the other side. So it was the same. So as you could see, it actually looks perfect. I love it. So then when you are working, always measure. Always measure your work. So that's good. So you can see, I actually have like 10.5. This side is 10.5, the other side is 10.5. So it is perfect, gorgeous. So all the measurements is okay. That's it. Looks nice. So if you happens to lose some weight and you have clothes that you really love so much and you don't want to actually give it away, go ahead and give it a try and do it like this. You can do it with overlock as well. What you have to do just to use a zigzag machine to do it. If you don't have sewing machine, you can do it by hand. There's no harm about that. Because if you take your clothes somewhere else for someone else to do for you, they are very costly. So at the end, you will be ripped off. So it is very good to practice little things like this, and you will save money on doing it. And so, what can I say? Practice, practice, practice makes perfect. Alright? So you practice what you got to do, and then it will be fine. And so I will say thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, because I love it as well. I give those tips to people who want to actually do things for themselves. So I will say enjoy your day. Have a very good day wherever you may be, and bye. Bye.